When did patriot become a bad word? How can being proud of your country be a bad thing? Why do we have to be a part of some globalist utopia? We were fine just being Americans. Everyone always talks about 9/11. It's obviously the most horrific day in American history. But do you know what I remember more? I remember September 12th. I remember the day after. I have always said many, many times, why can't we be the America of September 12th? Let me ask you, do you remember how you felt on that day? Like me, you were probably pissed off. But I venture to say, you didn't see black and white. You didn't see gay or straight. You didn't see rich or poor. You probably saw, like I did, everyone as red, white, and blue. We weren't black Americans. We were Americans. We weren't Hispanic Americans. We were Americans. There was no distinction because at that time, at that point in our lives, at that point in this country, we were truly one nation under God. That's what Donald Trump has stood for. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out why that feeling of September 12th, 2001 isn't encouraged today. But it seems slowly that many Americans are finally starting to truly wake up. They are remembering when America was strong. It's taken a lot, no doubt. But to me, I can see it slowly happening. I saw some recent videos that were posted on different places online, and I thought to myself, instead of the usual campaign advertisements, what if Donald Trump used these videos as campaign ads?
Can somebody explain to me in crayon-eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live? And I do not want to hear the pull yourself up from your bootstraps, work 90 hours a week. That's not the goal, guys. You
can't deny him that. We shouldn't have to see Americans working 90 hours per week just to make ends meet.
That should not be our standard. I am so fucking tired of people being complacent with this uniparty.
We're not seeing the kind of drive and ambition from the Republicans either. They seem to be stuck in this uniparty crap. He's absolutely right. And I'm glad some of these younger people are finally starting to see it.
Both of them fucking us over. When my parents were my age, they both made less than half of what I make, and they lived alone. I cannot afford to live anywhere alone. A 1-bedroom apartment, $1,800. 2-bedroom apartment, $2,200.
I'm not sure where this kid lives, but he's absolutely right. The cost of rent is way too high. Inflation has driven things through the roof, and these younger people are finding out they can't make it. They've been sold a bill of goods. They've been sold, go to college, you're going to be fine. Get a huge student loan debt, and everything will be fine thereafter. And they've been screwed.
Who the can afford that? It is embarrassing to come out and say that it is a struggle to survive right now. But I know so many people are struggling. And do not get me started on what my grandparents were doing. They $3,000 house. And yes, I understand inflation and
he might not. See, I think they've also got people accustomed to that. That's how inflation should be. Well, it shouldn't be. If we had more manufacturing jobs, remember in this last jobs report, there was 0 improvement in manufacturing jobs. If we weren't doing all this stuff overseas, it wouldn't have to be that way. Basically, people are working half a year to pay their taxes. That's insane.
All of the bullshit that they have been pulling with the Fed. Why are we allowing it? Why? And then I clock out of my shift. I am tired. I have to go home. And I check the news. Another 60 billion to a country nobody can point out on a map.
Brother, I'd have to applaud you on that one. None of us can understand that. I don't know if it's the biggest money laundering scheme in history, but I don't understand how people are homeless and hurting like this kid, and yet they're sending billions to other countries like Ukraine.
What are we doing? Where has the plot gone? We have lost it, folks. We have fucking lost it. The American dream is dead. It is over. Gone and forgotten.
Now I have to change his mind there. I have to be one of those people and say, that's not true. And let me tell you why. Because we shouldn't have to accept this economy as normal. It always wasn't like this. I don't think some of these younger people understand this is not normal. That young man is near tears, and I can feel the hopelessness coming through his video. And we all know he's not alone. But can you imagine feeling that hopeless? Those are the people that Dementia Joe is ignoring. But he's wrong. The American dream is not dead. He just has never experienced it. It's not been something within his grasp. You see, many of these people weren't born or were probably just youngsters when 9/11 happened. They don't understand that those terrorists tried to kill the American way of life. And to a certain extent, they succeeded. And since that day, our government has taken advantage of that to use against us. But believe me, I for one can tell you, me personally, the American dream is not dead. It's just being obscured. It's being hidden by Dementia Joe's administration and his puppet masters. What's sad is this is exactly what they wanted. It makes it so much easier to control these young people. They convince them that voting for the orange man was bad. But do you know who will fix this kid's hopelessness? Donald Trump. It's obvious everywhere you look at this point. People have had it to hear. Recently, I've made a few videos where I've shown you how the black voters out there are beginning to come around and realize they've been sold a bill of goods as well. I couldn't believe, surprisingly enough, many people in the gay community are standing up and saying, we've had enough as well. Check out this woman.
Let me make this perfectly clear. I don't give a if you're not into politics. I don't give a if you've never voted before. I don't give a if you don't even know the issues that are surrounding this year's election. If you live in states like New York, especially New York City, this is what I'm focusing on, in California, and not these swing states that they need people to come out and vote. I need you to hear me, because I know a bunch of fucking people here who are fed up with the policies of New York City, who are fed up with what is happening to our city, the money being given away to people who haven't paid the fucking dime in taxes, everything. And they're worried about their kids growing up in this world. Let me be loud and fucking clear. Go register to vote and go fucking vote. This is the one. You're going to hear it every 4 years, but we see what's going on firsthand. And the last thing they're going to expect is for New York and California to turn red.
I had to cut out a lot of her potty mouth stuff, but you can clearly see many of the young people out there are getting real anxious, and they've had it with what Dementia Joe and his administration and his puppet masters are doing to them. They don't want to not own a home. They don't want to eat the bugs. They want a real life. They've seen it. They've seen older movies. They've seen television, and they realize that American dream can be realized, and they are being prevented from actually availing themselves to it. Unfortunately, there's still some work to go to extricate many young people from the woke mentality. What I'm about to show you, in my opinion, is the ultimate Donald Trump campaign ad. It's absolutely amazing. But what's funny is the pronoun type person in the video didn't think she was applauding Donald Trump. She thought she was roasting Donald Trump. But to me, it's the best video to support Donald Trump I've ever seen. It's amazing. Let's check it out and react to it, and I think you'll agree.
First 15 promises he has made if he is reelected. You may have heard of Project 2025, but this is from Agenda 47.
All right, so she went onto his website and she's like, oh my God, you people can't believe what Donald Trump wants to do. We've got to stop him. So we're going to go through all his 15 different pledges and what he wants to do to America, so I can show you why he needs to be stopped. Not realizing that, yeah, we're okay with this. Listen to this.
And you can read all of these on his website. First, he promises that he will carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in history.
On day one, I will seal the border and will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. And if other countries say they won't take them back, we're not going to take them back. I will say that, yeah, here they come. You're just going to hold on to your britches, because here they come. They're coming back.
I'm good with that. Are you good with that? I think we're all good with that. Yeah, I think we all could applaud that one. So you kind of lose on that one.
Also ask for the death sentence for anyone convicted of human trafficking.
Would you have a problem with that? Nope. I think we're good with that one too. Let's see. Let's continue.
He will close the Department of Education and return all education standards to the states to decide.
I don't have a problem with that either. I think that the states should decide their own business. States' right? I'm for states' rights. Why would you be against state rights? Oh, that's because you want Papa government telling you what to do. Also, if Donald Trump puts it into the hands of the state, that destroys all that DEI and other stuff that I can't mention. So I'm going to give this one a thumbs up as well. Let's continue.
He will put prayer back into school, and he will criminalize any race-based advantage programs.
I think we're okay with that one. We need God in school.
He will end the Affordable Care Act.
I'm sure some people would have a problem with that, but if you put everybody on the same plane, make people work for it, make people contribute, none of this, pay your fair share stuff that they can never define, I think we'd be okay with that. If you need help, sure, I think there should be help available. Should it be mandated that I should pay for your stuff? Nah. So I'm going to have to give that one a thumbs up too. Let's go ahead and continue.
He will ban gender-affirming care for adults and children, and he will ban any federal dollars from going towards gender-affirming care.
There is no such thing as, quote, gender-affirming care. I love how they put their titles on this crap where they're talking about the mutilation of children. They want you to be able to mutilate children because they're being children, because little Joey puts on mommy's dress or something. Oh, I know what that means. We're going to have to lop off your junk and turn you into, not a woman, but a eunuch running around. So I am 100% okay with that one. I told you this was just perfect because I haven't disagreed with anything. Let me know if you've disagreed with anything. So let's continue.
Which means anyone with government-provided health care will no longer be able to access gender-affirming care except for Viagra and Cialis. Those will still be available.
Well, that would be gender-affirming care. Why did you want people who take Viagra and Cialis who want to enjoy life as people who want to cut off their junk? It's not the same thing. So you lose on that one too. Sorry.
He will propose a constitutional amendment that gives a term limit to Congress.
He possibly would have any problem with that. I think we'd all stand up and get some of these old guys and ladies out of Congress, get the new blood in, keep it going. You shouldn't be a lifer. Some of these people who have been there basically bilking the government and the people and bribes and kickbacks. They've played the game. Shoo, time to go on. I think I'll be okay with that. So what do you say? Hopefully you're agreeing as well. Let's continue.
We'll deploy the Department of Justice to investigate the Biden crime family and any of his adversaries or political rivals.
Sure, I wouldn't call them political rivals. I would call them criminals. Liz Cheney, talking to you. Adam Kinzinger, talking to you. Adam Schiff, we're definitely talking to you. Anybody who's had a hand in making people feel like they've done something wrong because they're patriots. Now, if you did something wrong, if you basically broke something, but putting grandma in jail because she was upset because of what happened, that's absolutely insane. And by the way, how about a lot of the stuff that they didn't release? Why didn't you release thousands of hours of footage? So I'm going to say I don't have a problem with this. Not at all. Let's go. Let's continue.
He will immediately pardon all of the January 6thers, and he will create a task force to investigate anyone who arrested, charged, or imprisoned a January 6er.
Why would you have a problem with that? Why not have accountability? Why not dig into this much deeper to find out what exactly happened? I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but I know that they didn't tell everything and they put these people basically in a gulag, thrown them in the dungeon and never let it see the light of day. So why not just see if these people were treated, fairly? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm definitely okay with that. Let's see what she's got next.
He will increase the penalties for underage criminal offenders. strengthen.
Why would you have a problem with that? We see too many gangbangers out there that are causing hard crimes. And with these hard crimes, they're basically being able to walk scot-free because they're like, I'm underage, man. I'm just a kid. I'm a juvenile. Nah, if you go ahead and commit a crime that's worthy of an adult crime, you need to do adult time. So I'm going to just go ahead and say, yep, I'm for that one. Count me in. Let's see where she's going now. What is he going to strengthen?
Immunity for police officers and deploy.
Oh, yes. Yes, you should not be able to sue a police officer for doing their job.
The National Guard to patrol woke cities.
I remember. I'm going to have to cut away for a second. I remember when my father was in the National Guard. 1968. 1969. I remember my father, a black man, a legal immigrant, was in the National Guard after he did his time in the Army. And in 1968, if you're too young to remember, there was a time of upheaval across the country with RFK, and right after JFK, and then MLK all got assassinated. Boom, 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 boom. People had had enough. They were rioting in the streets. But then some people took it a little bit too far. And there was all kinds of problems, and people were looting and burning down stuff, and governors across the country called out the National Guard and said, come take care of this shit. Stop it. Get it. It's over. We don't want this. But since then, we don't send the National Guard in to stop things. They just let it burn. So absolutely, I am absolutely for calling in the National Guard and stopping the woke riots, the protest. End it. Over. Done. If you want to protest, walk down the street. Walk down the street with your sign. No problem. You get out that sidewalk and you start breaking windows, we're breaking your ass. We're putting you in jail. So yeah, I am for that 100%.
On day one, he will reassess our participation in NATO and says that every European country needs to pay the United States for protection.
Yep. Yep. I ever see that GIF? I love that GIF. Yep. Why wouldn't every European nation have to pay the United States? If we're sending our boys over there and ladies, and we're sending our equipment and we're spending money, why wouldn't you pay us back? I don't understand. How do you think these bases got placed all over the world? Well, because when we went in and we took over something and helped you do something, we said, okay, part of that is we're going to have a base, number one. Number two, you're going to pay us. NATO, they've been getting off scot-free except for when Donald Trump was president. And he made other countries, hey, start putting money in. We're not your piggy bank. Those days are over. Why would anybody have a problem with that? So yes, I agree with that. So let's continue.
He will also restore the wonderful travel ban for Muslims coming to America.
Now, see how she slid that in there? It wasn't a Muslim ban. It was from countries where there was terrorism. So I don't have a problem with that because a president's primary, number one, uno job is to keep America safe. That's the number one job, not to have an open border and let millions of people stream in that we have no idea who they are and what they're all about. So why wouldn't you want to have a true immigration and vetting program so we know exactly who you are? Because some of these countries don't even have databases on these nuts that they're letting in here. Don't even have any way to trace who they are. So I'm going to have to, sorry, but young lady, man, whatever, I agree with this one too. So let's continue.
He will build freedom cities. This is 10 new cities built on federal land. He will award them to areas with the best development proposals, and he will prioritize moving young families to these freedom cities.
So we just heard that young man who basically cried into a camera saying, I can't afford to live. These people are strangling me. I can't even see the American dream. It doesn't exist. It's dead. Those were his words. Freedom cities for young people where they can begin new lives without being strapped with exhaustive debt? Why would you be opposed to that? Of course we're for that. Of course. Unbelievable. Simply unbelievable how anybody would be against that.
He will kill all e-vehicles and e-vehicle legislation, seeking to replace that with the development of a flying car.
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard him say that, especially since we know he's, buddies with Elon Musk. So I don't think he's going to kill EVs. I think the problem she's saying, and she's euphemizing it, is that he's going to kill the mandate of trying to phase out gas cars and force you to buy EVs. That's what he's going to phase out. And for that, I would definitely applaud that. As for flying cars, I hadn't really thought about it. But if it's, safe, if the travel, we can find some way to regulate it so you're not zipping and zooming all across different places like drones are, I'd be for that. I'd love to hop in the car like the Jetsons. Why would you be opposed to that? Think about it. If it was a safe mode of travel, if I could hop in my flying car right now like a helicopter and fly over to, the beach or South Beach or certain areas, go see the Miami Heat play, why wouldn't I be able to do that? So yeah, I want that. I definitely want that.
He will remove all of the limits on American natural gas exports and drill baby drill for oil domestically.
What? Oh, I'm not even going to discuss that. I'm just going to give that the applause right there, right now. Right now. None of us. I don't think there's a single one of you watching that would oppose paying $1.99 for gas again. That's a no-brainer. That doesn't even compute. There's nothing to discuss. Drill, baby, drill. I am fine with that. Let's get it done.
He will impose a tariff of up to 60% on Chinese imports.
That's called America First. That's called let's make sure things are made in America. Everything here, the unions would absolutely love that. Make it in America, not China. So if you want to come in and import TVs or export TVs or electronics or whatever else, yeah, you're going to have to pay a tariff so you can equalize things between the countries. So that's a no-brainer as well. No-brainer. Absolute no-brainer.
Extend the 2017 tax cuts and drop the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15%.
I don't have a problem with that either. I don't think we need to pay the kind of taxes as a corporation or as individuals that we're paying right now. You should not have to work 5 to 6 months out of the year in order to pay taxes so they can send billions of dollars without your approval to some country, as that kid said, that you can't even identify on a map. Why is it that they can spend, the people in Washington can spend your money any way they want with no real limit and just keep coming back to you and saying, we need a bigger check. Give us more of your money. I think the biggest wrong ever done to the American people, and I do mean this, the biggest wrong is when they mandated that employers had to take the taxes out of every single check. How much would things be different if employers had to pay you what your paycheck was every week, and then you, at the end of the year, decided how much you were going to pay the government? And when I say decided, according to an equal and level tax rate. So if you had to pay 15 or 20% of your income, then that's it. And the interest-free loan, because I hate the word tax refund, it's not a refund, it's a repayment. Understand, when you are allowing people to take money out of your paycheck for future earnings, you are lending the government money. It's not a refund. Again, they're using language like gender affirming care to make it seem like something it wasn't. You have lent the government money. If you happen to have lent the government money, too much money, they are repaying you what they owe you without any interest. Understand it. It's not a refund. You didn't pay something. You're getting repaid for what you've already paid. So I don't have a problem with lowering tax rates. Sorry, just don't.
He will push Congress to pass legislation that would give every American the right to concealed carry anywhere at any time.
I'm in Florida, and we can do that. So I don't know what you guys in other states feel, but obviously I live here in Florida. We're allowed to do that right now, and I don't see a whole lot of gunfights in the street. In fact, I don't see a lot of home invasions. You know why? Because everybody in Florida understands that the other guy might be carrying a gun. You don't see a lot of people getting accosted. You don't see women getting punched in the face going down the street like they do in New York, because everybody has to have the inherent knowledge that person might have a gun. They may be protecting themselves. If I go to snatch her pocketbook or go to steal his car, I might get lit the F up. So I definitely don't have a problem with that, not whatsoever. Let's continue.
And he will revoke any gun restrictions or legislation that seeks to inhibit people's ability to own guns that's been...
Yeah, why not? Why should it's obviously a constitutional right. Any sort of restriction on that is basically unconstitutional.
...passed in the last several years. He will demand that Europe pay back all the money we gave Ukraine, and then he will use all of that money to recruit for the American military.
What would be wrong with that? Why not re-enhance our military and be able to pay our own soldiers? Who would have a problem with that? I can tell you, people like her, he, globalists, people who want a weaker America. So, of course, that's something that I'm for. Let's continue.
And he will take billions and billions of dollars from private university endowments by taxing, fining, and suing the universities. He specifically names Harvard in this one. And then he will use that money to create the American Academy. It is a free online college that will be free of wokeness that he will force employers to recognize as a bachelor's degree equivalent.
Why would you have a problem with that? These universities have become basic, huge money laundering distribution factories. They are the cause of the student loan debacle. Everyone says, hey, let the government go ahead and get these kids off the hook from having to pay back their government loans. Well, they're having to take out these loans because the schools are charging $50, $60, $70, $90,000 a year to go to school, and they're getting out of school and Johnny can't read. Johnny can't do anything. So, of course, something has to be done with this country's educational system from the ground up. From kindergarten all the way to college, things have to be fixed. So I'm not sure why she has a problem with that. I'm good with that, too. All right, so she's almost done here. This video's gotten kind of long. I hope you guys have stayed around for it, but it's been beautiful.
So that's Agenda 47.
And that, to me, is the best campaign ad for Donald Trump ever. 15 items that I think just about every logical thinking American would say, yeah, that makes sense. Give me some more of that. And by putting that out there, it puts Dementia Joe in a position where, tell us why this is wrong. You have to defend your position. You just can't say Orange Man bad. Orange Man leads a cult. There are 15 items that have been lined out perfectly. All you have to do is just tell us why these things are bad. Can't do it. So let me know what you think about the 15 items that Donald Trump wants to implement and whether or not you think that video should be packaged as a campaign ad and just run that nationwide. Let me know what you think. Thanks for hanging around. I understand this video got long, but sometimes there's a lot to say. Talk to you soon.